For this video, I'm going to make a normally open foot switch that is 1 inch wide from left to right. So I'm going to start by defining a construction line that's 1 inch long. And I'm just going to use a solid line type, and I will erase it later. So there's a line that's 1 inch long. Hit right click or escape to end the line command. I will now draw a circle, and I'm just going to place it off to the side. I'll draw a circle, come in here and type diameter 0.15 inches. Hit escape to stop that command. Now I'm going to move this one using the move command. I'm going to cut the copy option off. I'm going to select it. Then the command line on the prompt bar says click for the point to move from, so I'll pick 9 o'clock on the left side and move it to the endpoint. See the endpoint snap pop up? Now we'll turn the copy option of the move statement on, select that circle again, and then pick the 3 o'clock point as my point to move from, and then I will click the endpoint of the line as the point to move the element to. See the endpoint snap icon pop up, so I will then click that, and then I will right click to end the command. So I now have two terminals exactly 1 inch apart. I will now draw my switch contact at the 3 o'clock point, so right there at the quadrant snap. Then I will come over, find the 12 o'clock point, and go up slightly till it looks about right. There's really no specs on this that I know of. Right click here to end the command, hit the line somewhere to the right of the midpoint in this area here. Make sure I get the perpendicular snap so that line is perpendicular to my contact line, and then I'll bring the part of the switch that we would step on in schematic form down, being this part here, and draw it, and then right click or escape to terminate the line command. Okay, now I will define two block labels, which is just text placeholders, and I'm going to call one of them the designation with a value of question mark and a description of enter the designation of the foot switch. That would be such as FS1 or whatever its designation is in the system. If there were 5 of them, this might be FS5, for example. So I want to place this on the midpoint, but vertically centered up above the switch, somewhere in this area about right here. Now I want to define another one. I can also copy this one. Let's go that route so we'll have in the video both ways of doing it. I can choose move with copy and pick this. I can move it straight down and notice it's wiggling side to side. I can constrain myself by putting 0 in on the X coordinate, and it will only let me move vertically, not horizontally. So I can copy this block label and right click it and hit properties, and that lets me go in and change the name of it, and in any other properties, service, question mark, enter the service. It's no different than creating it, it's just a little faster sometimes to copy it. And now I'm going to make the text font just a little smaller, so I'll hit OK. So now basically I've done the same thing that could have been accomplished by creating another block label. Alright, everything is centered. Now I want to erase my construction line, so I'll select it, hit my delete key. Now I want to create the block itself, so I hit block. It says click elements to add in the command line, so I will put a box around it. Now I'll hit my checkbox to tell it OK. It will ask me to define the origin, so 9 o'clock on the left is a good point. Now I need to name it, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to call it S-W- and I'm going to spell it out, foot switch. NOC for normally open contact. Okay, now I hit select, and it says I already have one of these from in the past, but I probably don't like it, so I'm going to hit OK and let it I need to hit overwrite and hit OK. And now I'm going to test the switch to make sure it looks right. So I'm going to put in FS1, and the service might be conveyor jog. Might be a good use for a foot switch. Okay. At that point, everything looks good with my block, and I have now created the block. If I look over to my left in the active document block label of my library, so I hit my library tab, find active document, scroll down to the bottom, and I see it. If I wanted to drag it in and use it again in this diagram, all I would have to do is, for instance, I'm going to delete this one. Okay, I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to drag another one in, and it gives me the option of changing it. So I could do the same thing, FS1 conveyor jog. So if I was only wanting to use it in this drawing, I would be good at that point. I could stop. I realize that I typically like to have my block symbols have red lines on them. So at this point I could double click this. It opens up the block editor. Notice it says close block right here. To change the line color, all I would have to do is highlight it, come up here, hit the red, click away. Everything looks good to me at that point. Hit close block, and once again now I have edited this block and it exists inside this drawing. Now I would like to put it in my permanent library for future use, and there's a couple of ways of doing this, but quick and easy, select the block, come up here to the top, up here to the home tab, hit the copy command, and that's a clipboard copy, so it sent it to the clipboard area of memory. Now we go to my library. I would find my electrical symbols folder, which is here, and I would double click it, which should open it up as a drawing that's got lots and lots of things in it. And now we'll hit paste and bring it in here and drop it in this area here. It doesn't really matter where I put it. It's just the fact that it's a block symbol inside another drawing makes it available for use as a library. I'll now hit the save option by hitting the floppy disk icon. I'll now close it. If I'd have closed it without it, it would have told me I needed to save it. And at that point I can test it by coming back to my electrical symbols folder, scrolling down near the bottom. In my case, sometimes you have to come over here and do a one-click select again to force it to reload the file. And then I notice down here at the bottom, near the bottom, not exactly at the bottom, but near the bottom is my foot switch. And now I can see I can drag it in and place it right out of my library, which would now be available to any drawing. So at that point I would fill in the blanks, and I would now have a foot switch pulled out of my library into any drawing that I wanted to. And that will end this video.